welcome to the VAS week number 3 here on the Victorious main channel. I am Camcom, joining you as your host and producer again tonight, but as your regular casters, of course, you have Infinite and Kevbo joining you. How are you guys doing tonight on week number 3?
Can't complain, Kev. How about you?
Yeah, just chilling here with my boy Nara over here. You know, we hanging out, getting ready for some banger games.
Nara. I'm so sorry. You know, we also have a fourth special guest member here on the desk tonight. It is actually Nara joining us from Kevbo's side there. I've got a few friends as well. It would take all stream to introduce them all, but they're here as well. They've been here all the time.
Jigglypuff, huh? You're a high tier fanboy. You're an HBox fanboy. I can't believe this. Low tiers forever. I play Roy.
My sister gave it to me for Christmas one time.
Oh, that's sweet. I'm sorry for insulting your Jigglypuff. That's a fine puff. I hope it hits many wrists.
Well, my Jigglypuff did not come on stream to get insulted by Infinite, man. Like, I'm sorry.
Oh, I can't help it. I just, my friend Kevin plays, not this Kevin, no, that's Cam. Not this Kevin. My friend Kevin plays Jigglypuff and makes my life a living hell in Super Smash Bros. Melee, so, you know, I have a reaction, but that's a cute Jigglypuff. I can't deny it. Oh my goodness gracious.
Well, before I start making Jigglypuff noises, I think we ought to get on to at least the task at hand maybe here. Victoris VAS week 3, exciting stuff. I believe we're gonna be watching the Group D first and second seed, currently tied first at the moment tonight. So exciting stuff.
Banger of a series.
Nameless Thunder and the Collective Colors. Yes, thank you, Kevbo. They are both currently tied 2-0, undefeated in week 3. I called it undefeated in week 1 and week 2 as well. We're still sitting undefeated in week 3.
How could it be undefeated? You know what? Technically, it's true. They haven't been defeated yet.
Exactly.
Games,
everyone was undefeated in week 1. I had an excellent narrative to play off of, honestly.
Oh, it's outstanding. But yeah, it should be a pretty sweet matchup. Definitely not so much in the logo game. I think Nameless has kind of gotten beaten out thoroughly there. Normally, I like the Nameless franchise, teams, their whole org. I like all their teams, the general logo, but the Nameless Thunder, the color scheme on that particular logo, not really to my taste, Cam.
Kevbo, do you have a power ranking on these logos right here?
I don't think any of them are quite as cute as Red Panda Gaming over there. Gonna be honest with you. It's just so cute.
Yeah.
But,
unfortunately, you're both incorrect. Whooper is the only correct answer. I'm sorry about that.
Who's not playing this split?
It's Whooper Wednesday. It doesn't matter.
It's Whooper Wednesday. No, but I was literally about to say, like, none of these teams can beat Whooper, but of course Whooper is no longer with us. Rest in peace. Whooper got sent to the Shadow Realm. But, yeah, you know, Red Panda Gaming, I gotta say, definitely up there. I don't know if that's supposed to be a specific Red Panda. I don't know if that's supposed to be like, like Pabu from Avatar: The Legend of Korra, or I guess he's technically a fire ferret, but it's basically a red panda. But that is a great logo. It reminds me of Turning Red. When the little girl turns into a panda and gets all. Cam,
beautiful.
Aside from Whooper, though, really teams that are still with us here in the VAS. Let's hype them up a little bit. Who do you got in terms of the logo game?
Okay, logo game. I think their name is Buzzy Bees. Pretty sure you guys forgot about them as well. They are currently ranked 4th, 1-1 in Group C. They are quite literally a bee. You know, anyone that has an animal immediately just goes way up there in the power rankings. So if you've got an animal, then please do come. You also have the rat jammers. You forgot about them as well. Sorry.
That is also a very good one, I do have to say. Of course, we got several certainly memeable ones in here as well, but
You look confused.
Yeah, because I glanced over and CCS in Group A caught my eye. Does anybody know what that stands for? Because their logo is Buzz Lightyear going, and it's like, What is that? What is that supposed to represent? I'm not familiar with CCS. I hope
Creatures.
Crosby's Creatures. I hope we get to cast them at some point. That's a great logo. I won't be able to keep my eyes off it. But yeah, the logo game VAS is pretty decent this year. You got some really high quality ones. And I mean, RPG you can't beat because not only do they have a great logo, they're leading the group. Nameless, you got to step your game up. If you're leading this group, you gotta get that color scheme on your logo fixed up because that ain't it.
While we're on the topic, though, I do want to point out that we do have multiple Among Us references here in our groups. Multiple. I did catch that.
Oh, no.
It looks like, of course, Sus. Sus is there. But we also have in Group C... Where'd they go? Oh, wait. No. I
don't know what's going on.
In Going Ghost, if you take a little look, there's a nice little Among Us tribute there as well.
Oh my god, there is! Oh, he's a little sussy. He's this little sussy man on their logo. That's wonderful. We have such great logo games, such great teams. We have the best broadcast team. How can you beat VAS? This is the place to be on Wednesdays, Cam.
All right, now that we've done our power rankings of the logos, how about we do them on the teams? That their actual skill level now, I think is what we are trying to focus on here. Nameless Thunder versus Collective. We've ranked very clearly Nameless below Collective on their logos, but how are they looking on their skills? Infinite Stardust on logos to Kevbo. Who's winning tonight, basically?
It's definitely an interesting one. I think Nameless has a lot more spice, especially in their draft. They did pull out a Wukong Senna bot lane last week. So excited to see if they pull anything spicy like that out. However, based upon last week, I would have to... honestly, I'd have to stick with them. They won their Series 2-0. Colors did go to a Game 3, so having a little bit more of a rough time in their matchup, but should be interesting.
Are you saying 2-0 or 2-1 Nameless? You got to be specific here. We don't go halfway.
I think these are the two teams at the top of the standings. I think it's going to be 2-1 Nameless.
Okay.
Also, we got to keep the 3-game streak alive here.
I've had a 3-game every single Victoria stream so far. I was on BTS last Friday as well. We also had a 3-game, so it has not stopped yet.
I hope the streak gets broken here because we can't have this streak going all year long. Wednesdays, these are the chill nights. VAS is the good vibe stream. 3 games every single night might just be a little bit too much for my little old heart to handle. But we will see if it does wind up going the distance tonight. I do like the idea that Nameless is going to take it here based off of momentum, right? They had an easier time last week. But this matchup's really going to set the expectations for the rest of the group moving forward. This is sort of where things start to get solidified. Week 3, you really start to get that matchup-specific data that lets you know which teams are really on the up and up and which just had favorable strength of schedule in the first 2 weeks. When most people are 2-0 or 1-1, you don't really get a great idea on what the actual power levels of the groups are going to be. So this is definitely going to be an illuminating one in that sense. I think I have to agree with Kevbo here that's going to be Nameless. I haven't seen Thunder play yet, but I like the way Nameless runs their organization. I've cast a lot of their teams at various levels in different tournaments, and generally they're pretty well ran as a team. The Collective I've also seen go to some finals, though, over in Metashift. So it could go either way, but I'm feeling the 2-1 for Nameless. And Kev, I know you're returning sort of to the casting game, a little bit new at it. Let me just assure you, no matter how wrong your predictions are at any point, you can never start as bad as Kongman, who last split on VRS. I think predicted the first 6 weeks of matchups wrong.
Completely
oftentimes
incorrect.
Being the only person on the desk, basically going against the grain of the rest of the desk every single time while we would just rattle off wins, he'd rattle off losses. So I'm chained to your prediction with you here tonight, buddy. If we're going down, we're going down together. 2-1 for Nameless.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can't console him for being incorrect if you're making the same exact prediction. So you're consoled the two of you here. I have also had casted quite a few nameless teams around here. I've also played against their challenger level team. That was a game that did happen. Did it go well? I got a kill in lane. We'll leave it at that.
That's very impressive considering you play support. So there you go.
My Jigglypuff is falling slowly. We're trying to fix him here. I want to agree with you. My original plan coming onto the desk here was 2-1 nameless, but I just simply cannot be the third piece of the puzzle. I simply cannot just follow the grain on the 2-1 track.
Triforce.
So I'm actually going to upgrade my answer here to a 2-0 for nameless. I think they're going to take it for a 2-0. They've taken 2-0 every single week here so far. They're going to continue it, and they're going to break our streak of the 3 games every single cast.
I like that prediction a lot.
I don't.
But it was
we
originally
need 3
2-1.
game series every time, Cam. You're ruining it.
Jigglypuff agrees. 2-1 collective is what Jigglypuff is going. What's Nars' prediction?
What was that? Yeah, he's saying he agrees with you. He's gonna go with a 2-0.
Agree with Jigglypuff or me? We got multiple people to agree with here.
Mostly Jigglypuff.
You know, I gotta say, this first 5-man, or 5-person, I guess I should say, desk that we've ever done, or not even 5 people, this first ever 5-creature desk that we've done, considering we got a Yordle and a Pokemon here. This has been a treat. I think the interplay of all these different voices added in has really made the desk more dynamic. We gotta do this every week. Sorry, Crow, you've been replaced. Jigglypuff is coming for you.
I truly think we got the combination. I think Crow lives on within the Jigglypuff and the Gnar. He's here in spirit. He is currently playing in a competition. I think something tonight is what is going on, so he will be back next week. I promise. He's not going away forever. He's everybody's favorite host. I'm only here for a week. I'll go back to being in the shadows again next week. But I do believe we will be loading into draft here in just a couple of minutes. So don't go anywhere. Game 1 of Nameless Thunder versus the collective colors will be on in just a few minutes.
All right, here we are, loaded on into draft for Nameless Thunder versus Collective Colors, Game 1. I'm Infinite Dodge, joined by Kevbo, and I actually pointed to the correct side. It's opposite sides. That's all you got to keep in mind, folks. This broadcasting stuff is easy. Kevbo, how are we feeling about this matchup, my good friend?
Well, considering all the things that I was like, I should talk about these have already been banned, I guess we know where both these teams are headed. Of course, both Xayah and Wukong are hotly contested picks by both these teams. Of course, we did see Nameless pull out the Corki last week. Would not be surprised to see this one locked in. But of course, just going to see these other high magic damage burst threats come out as bans for both sides.
Yeah, the Corki, the Insta first lock. Nameless definitely have a game plan here. They know what they want, but the response is Karthus. So that is definitely a spicy one. We'll have to see. That's a multi-role flex, of course. You never see it in the solo lanes anymore, as apparently that B1 is not correct. That is not Corki. It actually is one of the champions that Kevbo was telling me about in the pregame to look out for, which is Vygar. Sometimes with Draftol, that's what you got to do. Things get busted up and you have to use a substitute pick, so ignore that little Yordle riding a rocket plane, a World War II era biplane. So that Vygar ban is a Corki ban, and the Corki pick is a Vygar pick. My brain is starting to hurt. But
and we got Rel.
Vygar, Rel, that's a lot of zone control coming out already for Nameless Thunder. They are playing a we make big circle you don't want to go in game.
And one of the other highly contested picks between these junglers was J4, so would not be surprised to see even more come in, but it's going to be the Hecarim. And that's not even something that was on my list here.
Yeah, with the Hecarim, it almost feels like a Hydra, right? Just when you think it's dead, when you finally cut off its head so it can't come back, it sprouts 2 new ones, and they run at Mach 10 after completing their red buff and just absolutely eliminate your existence. This champion's never going away. I'm sorry. It is back. And, yeah, I have to keep reminding myself that's not the Corki, because for a second I was like, Corki, Hecarim, what is this, MSI 2021? I don't want to be here anymore. But the Kaisa will be the final response in this first round here for the Collective Colors, so that is a whole bot lane lock-in. How are you feeling about this Nautilus-Rel matchup in lane?
It's, I think, pretty even for the most part. The big importance is your timing on the Nautilus stretch line. If you can hit it at the right time, you're always going to interrupt that crash down. So very important that, especially in the specific matchup with the supports, that you're trading those important cooldowns properly.
Yeah, very much so. As we see the final bans come on in, and it's more top lane focus. 4 of them in the second round here. I think you should apologize to Nar, who is sitting behind you. We will not be seeing him in this game. I'm sure he's very sad and disappointed. But much like chat and yourself was pointing out as we were getting into game, that GP cannot be allowed to get through. That's a hotly contested pick for both of these top laners. So now we'll see where Collective Colors does save that counter pick for. It could be either of those solo lanes, as we do assume that the Karthus will be in the jungle. Ziggs pickup. This is one we've seen in the mid lane a lot recently, Kev.
Yeah, we definitely haven't seen it too much. It is kind of strange to see it coming out here, especially with a Karthus comp. I'm surprised that it's going to come out, especially because you want that Karthus to be that main magic damage threat. However, an Ornn hover wouldn't at all be surprised to see this. Just, it's Ornn. What can I say? I played Clash this past weekend, got a couple dubs. All I did was hide under tower as Ornn and let my team carry, so can always pull that one out reliably. Does leave an opportunity, though.
This is NA. We love Ornn. We love Ornn so much that when LoL Esports was looking at the MSI patch to figure out what to nerf for MSI, they were like, we don't need to nerf Ornn. That's just an NA thing. So that's going to go on through for Nameless. They're going to pair that with the Tristana, picking up their 80 carry on B5 here, saving it all the way for the end. And this is a nice little pickup with the Rel, right? It's this double all-in sort of engaging bot lane, can find those early kills, but also scales up fairly well with a late-game tank and a lot of range on the Trist. And now we're going to see what the counterpick and top lane will be here for the Collective Colors now that the Nameless Thunder have shown their whole hand, and it's just going to be the Camille locked in. How do you feel about Camille into Ornn? Is this going to be able to get enough pressure in the early game to invalidate Ornn?
I don't know if it's going to be able to get too much pressure, but the big thing is, especially the later you get into the game, if the Ornn plays it improperly, it's really easy to get that engage off of those pillars that Ornn's going to throw out. And also the split push potential is, I think, just way, way better for Camille than Ornn.
Yeah, definitely.
Team fights,
so.
on the other hand,
Team fights, on the other hand, definitely going to be the Ornn advantage because you have those big AoE CCs. I catch what you're putting down here, Kev. The Ornn definitely going to be more of that grouping monster, offers the scaling too. Something to note too, because we're on 12-10 now, we have even more Hullbreaker nerfs coming through. Not that Camille is the most common Hullbreaker builder, but if you are going for more of a split push style, that's going to be a little bit weaker, especially as a first item rush for the Camille. So maybe even in that split lane scenario that you pointed out she excels in, it might not be the best, but that's a Wukong. We've been bamboozled.
It's been
again.
Picked and banned here.
I mean, who says Victoris isn't the most entertaining league in the world? We have the first ever banned picked champion, but no, of course, that Wukong that came in the ban phase. Another swapperoo, switcheroo that we were not necessarily made aware of, I think. Production will clear that up for me in a second, because I now see the champions have switched back. Whether we are getting Karthus or Wukong, could be another Veigar for Corki, Corki for Veigar situation. You know what? We'll leave it wrapped up like a nice little surprise. There it is. That's the Karthus I expected. Okay. Yeah, so looking at these drafts overall, we got a decent amount of scaling on both sides. Lots of early game skirmishing, but who has the more overall complete package?
I just like Nameless's comp a lot better. Like you pointed out at the beginning, the zone control is absolutely insane. And the teamfight ultimates as well are just kind of nasty. You're going to have the fear coming in from the hacker room, the Ornn Horn on the top, that magnetism coming in from Rel, and I mean, Veigar and Tristana can kind of just sit there and hit away as much as they want.
Yeah, they definitely have the range to play with. They have tons of zone control. And Collective Colors, one thing I don't necessarily like, as you did point out, they paired the Karthus with an AP mid laner, a hard AP mid laner. They even want to go into some of the same items. They both share that predilection for the burn items, which don't stack on top of each other. It's definitely a bit of a more muddled draft from Collective Colors, but they have tools to play with as well, especially if Lord Beach up there in the top lane can get ahead early. Could definitely force big things for the team going forward, but we will just have to wait and see how it does all play out once the game starts up on the other side of a short break. So go hit the bathroom, grab your snacks. We'll be back right around the corner with some VAS action here in Week 3. Stay tuned. All right, everyone, we have hit the rift. The players are sprinting out because they cannot wait to show us some intense League of Legends action here on the VAS. The skin selection is wonderful. I quite like this Ziggs. We have a bit of an ARAM brewing early. What could be happening here? Kev, have you ever seen such strategic magnificence coming out before? That's an early dredge line, forcing the flash out of Nate. The collective color is going to be feeling real good with that early invade.
Yeah, Nautilus level 1, who would have known? Very strong invade. Of course, if he is able to get on top of someone, going to have that passive, going to root them, keep them there for even longer. Not at all surprised to see an invade, but, you know, kind of normal stuff. Got that nice early flash off of the opposing support, so should make things a little bit easier, but Rel here does have the Hex Flash, so not too worried.
Yeah, definitely so. Can use that Hex Flash in combination with the Crash Down in ways that other supports salivate thinking about. Rel might have some clear weaknesses, but also some big, huge, juicy engages as well to make up for them. I think the really valuable thing that came through right is this information. They know exactly where Vaunted Dream will be starting, can track that jungle path pretty accurately as we see the top laners getting frisky in the early goings. And you might think, why is Ornn scrapping with the Camille? Well, it's because Ornn does it all. Ornn does everything. Ornn will beat you in lane. Ornn will outscale you. Ornn will out-engage you. He is just a monstrous champion.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Ornn. Even if you don't beat them in lane, you can kind of just sit there, catch waves, and scale until 14, and then you're still relevant. Just maybe more of a CC bot than anything, as a hook is going to go a little wide there.
Yeah, it's going to be Nate taking advantage of that missed opportunity as well to get a nice trade. That explosive charge down onto Aller, taking them down to about 1/3 HP already with the press the attack proc from Thick Bob. The early game power of Tristana is not anything to be trifled at as the level 2 comes through first. That's the pull back. That's the jump in. Can they find it? They force the heal, the explosive charge as well, but the nice Spider-Man away from Opti. But that is a lot of advantage being seeded there from the side of the collective colors in that bot lane. Definitely looking good for Nameless so far.
However, it did look like Nate took a lot of damage in return there. A hover going to come out from the side of Nameless there.
Yeah, Aller finding some nice damage back at least.
Yeah, Nate is going to have to look to back here. I'd imagine, of course, these junglers going to look and see what they can get done in this early game. Karthus, of course, though, classic just farm.
Yeah, as we see, again, coming through in mid. Nothing too crazy, though. Karthus definitely not going to be able to affect this bot lane too heavily, though, as you do point out.
Yeah, and that's something I hadn't really thought about as well. That combination with the Event Horizon and Hecarim going to allow pretty easy stuns, even if they dodge it originally can, of course, just knock them into it on the side of Snapback there. Going to look for a little bit of hover in the top side, and I'm sorry there, I misspoke. Vaunted, of course, here on the Hecarim. Snapback just going to help Lord Breach get that push in as we pan back to the bot. No, going to have trading really across the board, and I'd imagine just going to go back to farming for both these junglers.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame we started that with so much early action, but nobody really wants to press the issue yet as the levels sort of equalized out and both bot lanes have equal amounts of tools here. Nobody wants to get down and dirty and see who's going to pick up that first blood. I'm waiting for it, but we're in that lull state right now, Kev, so while we do have a moment to analyze the goings-on, how about you tell me a little bit about these runes and summoner choices that we see? Anything jump out to you? It seems pretty standard to me across the board.
It's looking pretty normal for all sides. I do think there's a couple things probably you could go on the Karthus, but of course going to opt in on that Dark Harvest, just going to empower the Requiem as much as possible. We might get something here though.
Yeah, that's the flash route, but the crash down still available. But look at that nice dredge line to follow. The exhaust comes through, but it doesn't mean anything. His first blood is picked up, but the play continues. Opti ticking low. That's the jump forced away from Thick Bob, but a nice little pickup from the collective colors as now we see the fighting in the mid lane. Mage versus mage combat, but there's no mana left for Brown Ale, but the very nice satchel charge to dissuade Vaunted Dream from taking that play any further. So wins across the board for the collective colors. Nice little early game package for them as they pick up that first blood.
like you said, looking very strong for them at this point in the game. Of course, even getting a kill onto the Karthus that is going to have that scaling plus the Requiem super strong here the later we go. I'm interested to see, though, where Vaunted does decide to take this next gank. Of course, going to have to really balance between farming versus this Karthus and the early game power that Hecarim does have.
Yeah, and it looks like they are going to try and sneak a little Drake with the strength they have picked up here in the bot lane. And they're hovering, they're considering. With the wave pushing back into them, I guess they're not really going to commit to that, are the bot lane of the Collective Colors, instead going to go and catch that wave. Tristana having very strong pushing power means you're almost always going to have to be playing catch-up, but it can leave them exposed, right? Like we just saw with that gank coming through into the bot lane. Tristana can't help but push the wave with that E passive, exploding all those minions, and it left them wide open for a play. Going to get the bounce back, and the reset, though, should leave them in a much better position for the side of Nameless Thunder. Checking in on everything, though, not a lot of neutral objective advantage gained from Collective Color off that first Drake take. It was Karthus going right back to the full clear, so the Dragon's sitting ready and available, and it looks like they're just going to be trading vision around it for a little while before either team decides to commit to that. Oh, look, they got a double horse squad, Kev. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, Horse is going to look to take this dragon together, of course. I do want to point out, though, Sakroza looking very strong on this top side. Has a half-decent little lead there. Hecarim going to look, though.
Yeah, it's the bit of the disruption coming through. His Brown Ale, dang near pop, but doesn't go down. Manages to live as the Event Horizon Cage does find Opti, but it's not going to be enough. The Collective Colors, by the skin of their teeth, turned all the way around. Brown Ale picking up the double kill from a million miles away. We said we don't see the Ziggs in mid lane too much anymore, but that's the power it has playing at that range.
Yeah, and the Satchel Charge from Ziggs has been a tide turner thus far. Absolutely popped off with that there. Of course, that bomb going to land pretty easily and get the turnaround. I'm surprised they didn't get more, though, with KRC and that Event Horizon.
Yeah, it's a big sort of CC tool, but when you're getting disrupted and you can't turn the fight on your own terms, it sort of just becomes a bit of a nothing burger if you don't have the damage to follow up, and they dang near did, as now they're going to find another one. They go in aggressively, but Alor actually using that ult very well to escape. Nice little juggle back and forth with that killer instinct coming through from the Kaisa, so nothing found for Nameless Thunder. They seem to be floundering a little bit.
Yeah, of course, though, did force that flash on Kaisa, so should maybe be able to see a gank coming in from the Hecarim in the near future. Not going to have any tools to get out with the ultimate and the flash down.
Yeah, as we do tune into this live individual gold lead here, we can see that Ziggs is starting to pull away in a massive way in that mid lane, going to be up about 1,000 gold there, off the back of that double kill around the Drake pit. So this could get real scary real fast for Nameless if they're just getting poked down by these bombs from maximum range. But we do see Sakroza still trying to find something. We've seen some really great trades from the Ornn, but props to Lord Beach for playing around it very well, as that Satchel Charge isn't going to do anything for you in the baby cage. Just going to take you right into the wall, gets speared up, gets the bomb down, but the shutdown goes on over to KRC.
Yeah, and very important that it did end up going on to KRC there. Sakroza could maybe look for a kill here with Ornhorn going to come out.
Oh, that was nicely done by Lord Beach to disrupt the usage of that. Goes on into the Hextech ultimatum. Snapback going to use that ultimate to pick it up. Nicely done by the Collective Colors. They are just dominating across the map right now.
Yeah, and really unfortunate that Sakroza did decide to use that flash there, looking to see if maybe they could get a kill onto Lord Beach, but of course, not going to quite pick that one up there, and of course was already dead to the Requiem.
Yeah, it's a bit of a Karthus gap. You know, our main concern coming into this game was that the magic damage would be too heavy in this mid-jungle duo. We do see both of these players actually going for the Liandry's Torment? Is it still Liandry's Torment since the Season 11 item rework? I don't know the item names anymore. I'm a poor play-by-play caster. Liandry's Anguish! Thank you, Camcom, MVP producers. They are both picking up the Liandry's Anguish, so they could be invalidating each other's damage a little bit, but if they're really far ahead, what does it matter at that point, right?
Yeah, but I will point out here, Ornn already with a null magic mantle, of course, going to work towards probably a Frostfire Gauntlet or something of the sort there. It really just depends on what you're feeling, but of course that burn around you always going to be nice. Really helps with clearing waves. Of course, Thick Bob doing Tristana things here in the bot lane.
Oh my goodness, they're actually going for this dive. The exhaust comes out, but you don't have the damage to actually do anything about it. Alor says, okay, I'll take that free kill onto the Rel as Nate GG does fall there. And now it's going to parlay right from the Herald take into the mid-tier 1 crash. I mean, things are looking really dire at this point for Nameless. We had high expectations for them coming in. They need to find something. They're trying to force the play. They get Opti back under turret, but the flash is still there. The Onslaught of Shadows not really going to get much done. They do pick up the support, but the plate gold went the way of the Collective Colors. Sakroza here too little too late. Doesn't have the Ornn Horn, nothing to be done. And now Alor going to get some plate access as well.
I still think it was a pretty good play by Nameless there. Just a little bit mis-executed in the end. We're able to pick up that kill onto Opti, but Thick Bob and Vaunted looking for something.
Yeah, they will at least pick this up. You have to feel as that explosive charge does get it. Alor almost turned it around, but that's a nice shutdown for Thick Bob.
And then we pan back to Ziggs doing Ziggs things. Just the power of Shelly and that satchel charge is just absolutely insane at taking towers early in the game. Going to pocket that gold nice and easily at 11 minutes.
Yeah, Ziggs is one of those champions that might have gotten power crept right a little bit by these 200 years champs, but you see the satchel charge come out, and you see those passive auto attacks on turrets just absolutely melt them like a knife through butter, and you just think, wow, that champion's kind of gross, isn't it? Definitely a fun one to see picked up here. As the dragon is spawning, we got plenty of players dancing on around, sort of daring each other to go for it.
Collective Colors, though, has a very good vision setup at this point. We're going to see Nameless come in and try to clear that out a little bit, but this one on the Tri-Brush in the bot lane going to do a lot of work there for Brown Ale, going to get a lot of poke down.
Yeah, Brown Ale is absolutely making HGG feel the force of these bombs right now. And you know what they say, right? Ziggs doesn't hit his poke. He mind controls you into walking into it. It's such a weird, disjointed little hitbox, but it feels almost impossible to avoid the times, as we do see Karthus' flash is forced. Maybe a bit of poor posturing from TCC. They do have the lead, but they're just buying time and space for Brown Ale to get this poke down. But now, Lord Beach going to find KRC, trap them inside the Hextech Ultimatum. The forward rush from Nameless Thunder will mean nothing at all, as Opti could be the first casualty, but it will be the turnaround. Alor is here, getting the Acathian Rain out, and the poke, the zone, the hook shot over the wall to force Thick Bob back. It's a wipe for TCC, and they'll take the Drake off the back of it.
Yeah, and really importantly, Brown Ale got out there with the flash, able to just turn around and throw those bombs. Did a ton of damage, especially with that ultimate there, as we maybe toss it to a replay here. If they don't chase down Thick Bob, we're going to see just how this one did start. Looking for something maybe a little too aggressive from Nate GG. Karthus' flash was forced out, and now they're just caught in this little bit of a choke point with Nautilus and Ziggs on the one side. And of course, once they see that separation, just going to go in with the Hextech Ultimatum. Brown Ale, like I said, got out. This ult turnaround was kind of insane as well, and they just walk him down from there. Alor going to come back in and pick a double kill up quite nicely. Just really good turnaround, good zone control, and that's exactly what you want to see from the Ziggs there.
Yeah, absolutely so. As we get back to live, what really strikes me about these fights that we're seeing around the Drake pick, because this is the second big team fight we've seen there, scrapping over a Drake, is that the margins are incredibly thin for TCC, right? They keep pulling out with the slightest of health bars. You know, things could have broke the other way in that fight, but they're playing with their range so effectively that these big zone control tools coming through from Nameless Thunder in the way of the Ornn Horn, the Onslaught of Shadows, the Baby Cage, they're not finding efficacy because TCC is able to play back and play to the execution level that they need to just come through anyway, and this lead is starting to get pretty large for them. Nameless Thunder are going to have to find some sort of uncontested advantage pretty soon to swing things back in favor, or it could just be the snowball rolling on down the hill and crushing them underfoot.
Yeah,
they are looking for the play. Yeah, Brown Ale trapped under turret, going to get that bomb out, going to force the flash from Thick Bob, eventually will fall, but will the turret get the revenge? No, and it's an objective bounty on top. Opti and Alor trying to find something in the return, but once that turret goes down, opportunity's sort of a bait.
Yeah, and that's the play you wanted to see coming out from Nameless there. Get that shutdown onto your carry in this Tristana, and of course, Flash is going to be really important in this game. It does look like, especially thus far. I think both Ziggs and Karthus were forced to flash in that last team fight. One of those being down could have made the difference. Snapback, though, really aggressive here.
Yeah, that is not what you want to do on the Karthus. I get you're feeling good, you have the lead, but you've just given a shutdown to a hard scaling player who is going to be giving advantages over to the team. Is now Opti, and Alor might be caught out trying to back up that play. Will pull out in time, perhaps with the max distance onslaught of shadows from downtown for Vaunted Dream, but they do indeed get the damage out to dissuade any further chase from Nameless Thunder, so that's a bit of a wasted resource, but you can see these resources slowly starting to get chipped back at, right? Some advantages starting to be grabbed by Nameless Thunder. They're starting to play more confidently.
Absolutely, and we already have Merc Treads coming out for Ornn. I'd imagine going to be looking towards another MR item next. Of course, Beach in the top lane, going to just keep split pushing. Where do we think the strong points are here for Nameless, though?
Well, they definitely have that Ornn insurance policy, right? It's not just the fact that it multiplies the resistances for himself and becomes super tanky. It's not just the great engage option, which is the giant ranged AoE CC of the Ornn Horn. It is also the capability to give all the other players on your team better scaling as well through the ornaments. So it's sort of a 200 years champion as a tank, which is a scary thing. It's why it's really the only tank we see besides Malphite in specific counterpick situations. But we don't have too much more time to talk about all the Ornn's bells and whistles, because we have a team fight brewing around the Herald. Vaunted Dream goes in, but it won't be the steal. However, it could be the team fight win. The Ornn Horn coming out. Nate GG already bursted low, but does get on out on that rail. So tanky. The first casualty will be the Karthus, and this could be the turnaround we've been waiting for. But no, it is TCC who continue to keep finding the CCs, keep finding the victories, keep finding the team fights. They pull away with another massive heist.
Yeah, really well played from them there. Unfortunate, of course, that the Karthus went down first with that passive, going to be able to still output damage even after you take them out. It looks like there'll be another tier 1 going to them in this top side. So we get a nice little replay. Vaunted not quite picking it up, and it looks like Sakroza also got CC'd, was not able to get the return on the Ornn Horn. That might have been the change, and then just the insane damage output coming in from really the three big members there in Alor, Brown Ale, and Snapback. They just succeeded.
It's a bit of a blink and you'll miss it moment, right, when that Requiem does crash on down from the sky and absolutely eliminate your squishy carries. It keeps looking good. It keeps looking like a winning play until it isn't for Nameless, and that's the power of Karthus. It's why it's a jungle that's great for people like me, because dying just makes you stronger. So, you know, it was a little bit of an overextension, maybe a little bit of greed for that blue buff, but in the end it all parlays in the long run to another winning play for TCC. And now they are set up in fine position for this Mountain Drake that's going to hit the Rift in just 15 seconds.
Yeah, and really importantly, they prevented Sakroza from getting...
Oh, but we have the pick out right there into the baby cage. Brown Ale could be eliminated. No, the satchel charge again, but the explosive charge does find it on the back half. Now it's Vaunted Dream in the midst of so many members, but Long Beach trying to get on out, going to be taken out. It's an even fight so far. It's 2 for 2, but who's going to fall next? Nate GG on a sliver of health. Opti going to Spider-Man 4, but who else can you find? Nothing yet. It's just a bit of a stalemate. It's a stare down. It is a standoff. And now it will be TCC moving into the Hextech Drake.
Yeah, and unfortunately Nameless lost their two most important members there in the jungler, and their Tristana, of course, going to have the damage that you want to try and dissuade that there at the end, as it's just been objective control coming out from TCC here.
Yeah, very well played around the Drakes every time. TCC just have so many tools to turn these fights when you think, well, when you think they've lost, they've already begun to spring their master plan, and it has led them to this Drake stack early on. They're on the Hextech Soul point. They're up about 5k. They're feeling very comfortable, and it's not like they have any lack of scaling tools, right? You might have the Ornn, you might have the Tristana's ever-extending range, but when you have Karthus with Dark Harvest, that damage is just going to keep on going up, up, up. And it could get real scary for Nameless Thunder real fast. I mean, they've done a decent job finding some equalizing picks, finding, you know, a couple of kills in the team fights to keep this gold lead from exploding, but it's getting harder and harder to see them winning a fight flat out.
Yeah, and also got 6 stacks here on the Dark Seal, going to be outputting just an insane amount of damage, like you said. And also, I do want to point out, they've done a very, very good job at preventing Ornn from that second part of the Ornn Horn. Gets the first part out, gets those fragile procs onto the opponent, but hasn't been able to get that big team fight knock-up that we've been looking for.
Yeah, definitely so. It's a bit of a shame because that's one of the big strong points right on this Ornn for Sakroza is that big AoE CC, but you really have to praise TCC for how they've played around the Ornn. I think back to Lord Beach in that first skirmish up in the top side, waiting for that first proc of the ultimate and then using the hookshot into Hextech Ultimatum to dodge out the second proc and pick up the kill on a very low health bar. The mechanical play has just been really exceptional from TCC.
Yeah, very impressed thus far with a lot of the things they're doing. Of course, have been, at least until quite recently, were a little bit behind their opponents when it comes to CS. But of course, the more you kill your opponent, the easier it is to build a CS lead on them.
Yeah, definitely so, as now we do see maybe Brown Ale overextended in the side lane. Vaunted Dream, I mean, do you even have the damage at this point? You need your support to come, but Brown Ale going to find the turnaround kill there. There's no escape possible, but, well, I mean, look at this percent health burn damage. No, it's not going to be enough. NateGG going to find the kill, setting up for Thick Bob there. But, I mean, Brown Ale just plays with so much impunity right now, and it's the counter dive, this cross-map play going to come through on the bot side. They already took the last tier 1, and now they're gunning for this second tier 2 here in the bot lane. I mean, TCC playing absolutely dominant right now.
Even though they got stopped there by the Event Horizon, just the insane burst coming out from the Requiem and Kaisa on the back as well, going to output some damage. Kind of insane. Easy dive, even though you got stunned under tower.
Yeah, they didn't stop either. They went right for that inhib, and the flash being saved, not having to be used in that previous encounter, means they're not even going to get punished. Vaunted Dream tried to find the hook around punish there, but it's just not going to come through. TCC able to get out scot-free, taking 2 turrets, 3 turrets actually, and an inhibitor. So definitely starting to feel like a desperate situation for Nameless Thunder, even more so than it had been. They have the scale, and we've been touching on it all game, but it doesn't feel like it's going to get here in time.
Yeah, down 10k, it's really hard to get back into this one, of course. Also going to have Soul Point coming up in just about a minute. And you already have that vision setup coming in from TCC, just making it even harder for Nameless to get in on this one. You don't have to look for a pick.
Yeah, that's really all they have left to them at this point is the possibility to maybe find somebody like Brown Ale overextended in the side lane again, but taking that inhib gives TCC options, right? They had picked up the early Drakes, but before we can even talk about it, that might be the pick we were talking about! Alor going to be found in the cage. Vaunted Dream continuing forward, going to find that onslaught of shadows, going to flee up the squishy carry of Brown Ale. He'll be taken out. That's another one for Thick Bob. That's exactly what you want to see from Nameless Thunder. They might have just won themselves another Drake.
Yeah, and at the very least, they have stalled out this Hextech Soul, or sorry, Mountain Soul, so going to be able to get onto this one, take that one pretty scot-free. They do have Super Minions pushing in the bottom lane, so I imagine they're going to send Thick Bob down here, as this is the point where Lord Beach starts winning this 1v1.
Yeah, it took a while, but that Divine Sunder % health damage is nothing to be scoffed at. They're not playing on 2 lanes now. Could take another inhib here if nothing is done to stop Lord Beach. It was a nice response, right? They got punished in the mid lane there. Their carries got picked out, but they managed to parlay it into a not too badly losing play, because that's what you can do when you're so far ahead. The gold's been equalized ever so slightly, but they can hit the Baron now. They took another tier 2. That's a big gold pinata, just absolutely burst at the seams by Lord Beach, picking up 550 gold there for themselves, and they should take this Baron down. They will, and HEG, too little too late, just has to stare at them, take it, and walk away.
Yeah, and that was a really smart play coming in from TCC there. They know they're backing after that dragon. They saw the health bars. Going to have to come back and answer Lord Beach at the very least, so Kaisa and Karthus can kind of just take it by themselves there. Do decide to turn back onto that one after they see the backs come in, but just a very smart play coming in from them, going to end up trading those objectives.
Yeah, it's a bit of a David versus Goliath tale at this point, but Nameless Thunder doing a good job. His poor KRC can't clear these supers. Oh, that's a shame. That Nexus turret hanging on by a thread, but where there is lots of strength is on Thick Bob. One thing Nameless Thunder has done really well in trying to mount this comeback is every time they do find one of these picks, every time they do find a punish, they try and funnel that gold over to the Tristana. That's going to be your big-time late-game carry. Unfortunately, Ornn not even 13 yet, so doesn't even have the Sunfire Aegis upgrade for himself. Nonetheless, or rather not even thinking about a Gale Force upgrade for the Tristana yet. That's really what you want to see come through. Hopefully they can last through to that, but with this Baron siege on multiple lanes, super minions pushing in bot, they're going to have to find a punish soon or just lose their base. Unfortunately, they can't do it as Vaunted Dream goes low. Oh, but the Requiem interrupted by the kill. It was popped too early by Snapback. This could be their opportunity. They've already found Alor. What more can they get? Snapback will return onto Thick Bob. Do they have any more damage left without the Tristana? They do not. It's such a shame. Once again, it looked so good, but this could just be the death knell for Nameless Thunder.
Brownie just going to TP in, and of course, Ziggs just so good at taking these towers and inhibitors. Going to be able to push in 2 lanes at once, and it looks like it might be 3 inhibitors for TCC.
Yeah, this one is done and dusted for sure, as we see giant waves of swelling super minion reinforcements for the side of TCC right here. They are completely brazen. They don't care about diving on the Nexus turrets. They know this game is all but over, but maybe the last-ditch defense can mean something as Thick Bob has re-hit the Rift. They will find the punish on the support, but Brown Ale poking from a distance and just keeping the Baron applied for a while. I mean, they didn't find the end there. Is there any chance that these waves of supers can equalize things enough as they get picked up here to turn the tides for Nameless Thunder?
You know, we talk about percentages a lot in this game, and it's looking like a pretty low % chance for Nameless to turn this one around. They really need to see TCC misplay for them to lose this one, I think. Of course, having all these super minion waves is going to give you a lot of gold. Of course, Thick Bob already at 205 on that CC. What is CC? 205 on that CS. But it's really looking rough.
Yeah, they're going to have to continue to funnel Thick Bob for sure if they want to have any chance. The Tristana getting taken out early in that last fight was probably why they weren't able to bring it home despite a great punish coming on through. And what's really going to be interesting to me is, yes, they did it. They got Sakroza up to level 14, running right over that Tristana ASAP. Let me upgrade that Gale Force for you. Let me put that on my anvil. Tap, 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 tap. They know exactly what their game plan is here. But will it be effective enough? I mean, TCC have so many avenues to play through right now.
Yeah, and of course, that Ziggs just going to be able to sit there and poke. They don't even necessarily have to push in this wave. As long as they're making 2 or 3 or 4 members of Nameless answer, they're going to be perfectly fine to just push in the spot lane. You can see these super minion waves coming in both mid and top already. They're going to have to look for something.
Yeah, it was Vaunted Dream once again trying to find the engage, but Just no tools really left from Nameless Thunders. This will be the clean wipe coming on through for TCC. Just taking care of business. KRC going to flash back, but you have nothing to run back to. Going to find some decent damage, but you have no turrets, you have no shelter, you have no safety. You just have a wave of enemy creeps, and they are going to beat you to death while the game gets taken by the Collective Colors. They are going to go up 1-0 here, and our predictions are not necessarily looking too hot after this game 1, Kev.
A 2-1's still possible. No one really predicting Collective to win the series, though, so they're looking to prove us wrong, I'd imagine. I'm sorry. I was wrong. I believe Jigglypuff did predict Collective to win. I was just informed by production. We'll have to get back to you on whether that one was right or not. As we
Oh, so sorry. I was just so excited, Kev, about the fact that post-game is working again, and we do have the capability to see the damage numbers that I couldn't help but talk about it, but yes, we do see all of the, the fancy graphics. Riot doing a good job on the client for once.
What? And the damage output from Brown out there was absolutely insane. The satchel charges came in very clutch, preventing those charges in from Vaunted, of course. Really clean game? I wasn't even necessarily favoring them in the draft there, but absolutely executed on what they came and planned to do.
Yeah, it's we talk a lot in this ELO bracket, right, about ease of execution. Drafting yourself wombos, easy to chain together, capable, zone control abilities, and Nameless Thunder had that in spades, right? The comp sort of played itself, and we saw them do it many times with the cages, and you would think the Ornhorn on top of that, with Hecarim knocking you into those stuns from the Vigar, it would be all she wrote, but the Collective Colors just executed better with a harder draft. They played the margins, they executed to the top level, and they deservedly take home the win in game number 1 here. So it's going to be interesting to see how Nameless Thunder changes things up going into game 2. We will get a peek at that draft right after a quick break, so stay right where you are. We'll return shortly. What a fun transition. I'll try not to get motion sick as Cam keeps spinning us around. But we're right back into draft, Kev. What adjustments do you want to see here with the teams swapped up onto different sides in Game 2?
I just want to see really nameless. I think try to get more proactive jungler. Hecarim really tried, but just satchel charge. He just got shut down by a satchel charge. To be honest with you, unable to get those quick engages off. Of course, going to see pretty similar bans. Hopefully, they're the right bans and picks this time.
Right? That would make our jobs a heck of a lot easier, as we do see the Wukong, which I was so excited to see here tonight. Both of these teams, Wukong priority through the roof, but they're just making a gentleman's agreement not to play it, I suppose. But yeah, very similar through and through. It doesn't look like they're making any reactionary sort of game-specific Game 1 adjustments in the bans, just sticking to their game plans, believing that they're going to execute better in Game 2, our Nameless Thunder, so, no reason to panic quite yet, as that's a B1 Nautilus pickup. Just goes to show you how powerful this champion is with all that CC it offers down the bot lane.
Yeah, CC is the name of the game, especially as support a lot of the times. Of course, we can see some Enchanter supports coming out, but that will end up meaning that Nameless decide to pick up this Kai'Sa.
Yeah, that's a bit of an interesting one. They're basically saying, that looked good when you played it. Let's try that. Mommy, buy me a Kai'Sa. I want to go and play with that one. But look what's open. They're hovering it, and it's locked in. It's the GP. We were warned about this, that it could come through. GP's so strong right now. He was already in a good state. And then Riot gave him a buff, and he was in a great state. And then Riot said, let's give him another buff. As a GP1 trick, I'm very happy with where GP is right now. And they're going to pair it up with the Shyvana are the collective colors. This is an exciting one.
Yeah, Snapback has played this already this year. Excited to see, at least on stage, how that one does turn out. And honestly, how often do you get to cast a Shyvana game?
Given that I cast a lot of gold leagues, more often than I'd like. But you know what? That's okay. Shyvana can be very exciting with those big bursty AP fireballs. As the response into the Nautilus is going to be the handshake on the CC bots, essentially. It's going to be Leona and Nautilus. What a novel and new meta innovation here, these two melee CC heavy engaged supports.
Yeah, not at all surprised to see that one paired, especially with the Kai'Sa. They're just hating on my boy Gnar. What happened, dude? Why are they hating on you? I don't understand.
Yeah, with this Gnar priority, I suddenly feel like I'm casting LJL again. It's like, I don't think this champion's really OP, guys. I haven't seen much Gnar at all in my solo queue games recently. I guess in a 5v5 scenario, definitely the ultimate can give it more utility, right? But even then, I feel like there are things you'd want to target more than the Gnar up in that top lane. Some much more annoying things like the Camille that we saw used very effectively last time around. You have the GP now. I wouldn't mind seeing them ban that away, because I definitely hate playing against it as GP, but instead it's going to be Urgot. So collective colors keeping to their top lane guns in the second phase, just getting rid of more of them. Nameless Thunder now going to sort of reveal which lane they're saving counter pick for.
Yeah, and I'm not at all surprised to see that Urgot ban coming in against Sakroza. It is their most played, according to OP.gg, so get rid of that comfort. Going to look the opposite direction, though, of that one in the last game. Going to have that Kale scaling coming in. We'll have to wait and see whether that one does end up going mid, as it could. Highly unlikely. I imagine this is going to be Sakroza pilot.
Yeah, it adds some good obfuscation, right? Because it's a flex pick. It really keeps collective colors from being able to prepare as succinctly for the last pick coming in. But the scaling insurance policy didn't work for you last time around with the Ornn. I mean, Kale does offer a lot more in the late game with a very high impact ultimate and lots of damage, as it's sort of the response, sort of the call out from the collective colors saying, you might have a champion that's going to do ungodly amounts of damage in the late game. We can get the same exact thing. Ours has CC as well. Let us show you how it's done, because I took some offense to how you piloted it the last time around, as now it's going to be the utility 80 carry pickup here for TCC in the face of the Kai'Sa. Ashe locked in. How are we feeling about that one, Kev?
I do really like the Ashe with that comp. Of course, the burst coming in from Vagar and Shyvana and GP is just going to be insane. So the lockdown with that Crystal Arrow is going to be pretty nice. Of course, going to see KRC's Morgana mid come in. That's another pick that I was very intrigued by. Of course, not going to get the Senna Wukong combination coming out, but still a pretty interesting draft coming in from the side of Nameless.
Yeah, you can't have it all. You know, you can't get everything you want, but definitely fun. I do love the Morgana mid as a mix-up pick, traditionally used as a counter to like the LeBlancs of the world with that spell shield, the Twisted Fates, right? Something with point-and-click CC. The Black Shield sort of makes irrelevant, but into any AP, the Black Shield magic damage blocking is definitely going to be effective. Adds a little bit more of that team fight element with the Dark Binding ultimate, so definitely going to be a cool one to see for KRC. Going into game 2, who are you feeling has more tools to succeed now that we've seen the adjustments they've made based off of game 1?
I do like just the combinations you have coming in from the collective colors here. Of course, like I said, with that event horizon and then just the amount of burst you have coming in. Of course, Morgana is going to be honestly a really good pick into it. I've played it before. Event Horizon comes out, you just Black Shield and walk the other direction. Like, you really cannot do anything against it in lane. It's really hard to set up those ganks for your jungler. But still, I think I'd have to give this draft over to TCC. I really like the Wombo combo they have set up for themselves.
Yeah, it's going to be another big, exciting matchup this time around, as maybe Nameless Thunder feeling a little bit slighted after that game 1. We certainly went in thinking of them as the favorites, but the collective colors really just playing so well, kind of slapping them around a bit on the Rift. Hopefully they come back with some fire and some energy here for game 2. Hungry to keep our game 3 streak that we have going on the VAS alive here in week number 3, but it will all, of course, just be on the other side of a short break. So stay tuned. We got the grudge match. I couldn't remember that term for a second there, but we got the grudge match coming on up. This could be the decider for TCC to take home the little bit of the upset, or it could be Nameless Thunder bringing us game 3. We'll see so soon. We'll be right back. We have dropped onto the Rift for game number 2 here of VAS Week 3. It's the Collective Color versus Nameless Thunder. If you're just joining us, the Collective Color, they look pretty good in game number 1. They're up 1-0 here in this little series, and it started with a bit of a 5-man bunch, just like this last time around, Kevbo, but this time it's Opti with the Spider-Man hook, so not as much fear.
Yeah, and spot it out immediately, can just walk away from that one. Going to get a little bit of vision into the tri-brush, but isn't going to mean too much in the long run, as I'd imagine we just get a counter invade on this top side for TCC. Go back on map state.
Nothing really gained, nothing really lost. Oh, actually, Nameless Thunder failed to get any deep vision down, so actually this is going to prove to be pretty good for TCC. They stacked as 5. They could have gotten at least a tri-brush ward or a ward over the wall, but now they have no idea, really. It's going to come down to KRC to be brave all on their lonesome, get that ward down on the Raptor pit to try and get some information. But they have no idea they're getting invaded on up on the top side, as this could be a bit of a switcheroo. We see the GP heading towards mid. I like that adjustment a lot.
Yeah, a really interesting one to come out, and especially against the Morgana with the black shield, that should be pretty strong.
Yeah, getting the physical damage onto KRC sort of invalidates what the Morgana wants to do, right? Can't black shield the event horizon, can't you know, do everything that you sort of wanted them to do, and now you have like the scaling handshake picks both up in the top side, sort of blinking at each other and farming and just sort of waiting for things to happen. I think it works out very well from TCC. It's a very smart swap.
Yeah, you're essentially just saying who gets fed by their jungler first on that top side. Of course, Kale, once they hit that level 6, is going to have the ranged autos, make that a little bit harder for Brown Ale, but of course still has really good scaling for them as well.
Yeah, and it's going to be especially hard for... Okay, thank you, production, for letting us know that the Ashe doesn't have items. I didn't notice that. I thought it might have been a spectator bubble. It actually doesn't have items. That could be the turning factor in this fight, as Alor ticking oh so low, forced to burn both summoners, but will get out by the skin of their teeth there. Maybe they'll remember to buy items this time around, as we see the back of Shame coming on through, but man, that Coven Ashe skin sure is gorgeous. I think that's Coven. Longsword! Double longsword! A control ward! Yay! Alor has items now. As it's going to be left to Opti to catch this farm under turret. Big happenings already. Nameless Thunder got to be happy with that early doing.
Yeah, and the Volibear trying to do what the Hecarim couldn't in the last game. Looks like we're going to just farm it up here on the top side. Nothing really surprising coming out. We'll see if Sakroza can stop the back here, maybe.
Looks like just sort of setting up a bit of a pseudo freeze with only 2 casters. I don't think you can hold a full freeze there. We'll have to see, as double thumbs up. Lord Beach is not bothered. GP actually has more tools to dodge out on ganks than you would think, especially with the movement speed off the barrels and the passive, but going to be forced to use up the last of the mana to cleanse that root coming on through. But in a short lane like mid, as a GP aficionado, I can tell you that GP is pretty slippery, pretty hard to nail down there.
I'd imagine that orange is going to come in pretty important, especially if that Dark Binding does land.
Yeah, and things sort of slowing down now at this point. Not exactly what you want to see after that explosive early game, but Want to Dream just waiting for the wave state to portray Brown Ale here. Has the cage, but it's a real long lane, and you don't have any mobility tools on the Vigar. Very nice cage placement, leaves no avenue for the Volibear to run you on down, but the repeat could always come through. I mean, Want to Dream we've seen be very patient in the last game about just trying to force things over and over again. But nothing really going to result from it here. The first Drake hitting the Rift in just 10 seconds, so maybe that will force these teams to come together and fight. It looks like the bot lane priority going to be parlayed from TCC right over into a Drake take.
Yeah, and Morgana, of course, still going to look to clear waves as fast as possible. Should have the shove for a lot of it, but is surprisingly struggling a little bit to keep up on the CS here.
Yeah, we see the fight coming through. That is the Drake going to be picked up by TCC, but I don't know if they can win the fight. Lord Beach arrived with no mana, so it'll be first blood for Thick Bob onto the opposing AD carry, and the Flash Force out from Snapback. It's not the end of the world. You do value those Drakes, especially on the Shyvana with that passive, but losing out a kill there, not going to feel too good, especially in what could be a very volatile bot lane matchup.
Yeah, and the first blood going over the Kai'Sa there. Exactly what you want to see. Thick Bob was kind of the shining light in that last game. We're going to jump to a replay here, though. Bonta just not quite able to get in there at the end, but does get a flash onto the AD carry there. Insta CC, take out the damage threat. A nice one team fight from the side of Nameless. Like I said, also got that kill onto Kai'Sa, going to be pretty important, I'd imagine.
Very much so, as we do see two sort of motifs, two sort of patterns from last game. One of them was subverted and one of them continues. TCC had very good early Drake control last game. They stacked up 3 Drakes very quickly, but they were also winning all the team fights at Dragon as well. Now, coming into game 2, they pick up another early Dragon. They get that Dragon stack rolling early, but they don't critically win the fight this time. Granted, they have a lot more members who are waiting to get online, right? Waiting to get to that 1 item mark where they really start to shine. With Shyvana, it's 2 items if it is going to be this hybrid build that the PTA does indicate. So we will see if that holds true. But that's at least one thing, you know, improved for Nameless Thunder coming into game 2. And that's what you want to see in these games. You want to see these teams improve from game to game. That's what it's all about in the Gold Plat ELO bracket. Improve is win, Kevbo.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the CC coming in from the side of Nameless is pretty large. Leona by herself is like 3 champs worth of CC. Going to see an invade.
Yeah, this invade getting really spicy. TCC biting off way more than Chew. Opti just gonna fall, and Snapback, you have no flash, you have nowhere to go. So I'm flustered. Speaking of improvement, Nameless Thunder. I don't know if they've improved so much off the back of that play, more so than TCC getting really overconfident.
I'll tell you what has improved. The amount of CC they have. Nate
It's
goes
the name of the
in,
game.
Dark Binding over the top, and then you have another stun coming in from the... Opti did not get to move there. That is just not playing the game from the side of TCC. Of course, did see Snapback try to bait out what they could there, but weren't going to be able to get out, I think, regardless, once they walked into the pits. No flash, of course, used in the last team fight. Wanted going to look for something, maybe.
Yeah, Dredgeline doesn't connect, just ticks that little bit of terrain instead, so definitely a bit of an unfortunate situation coming out from Opti, but that one does connect as Nate in no man's land. Thick Bob coming around the corner. Will it be in time? The heal was used by Alor, but the aggressive flash forward from Thick Bob picks it up. Now Nate not going to go too deep, being real careful, just setting it up, but will that last turret shot do it? Yes, it will. That's a bit unfortunate. It was a clean play through most of it, but Opti does get a consolation kill, and then meanwhile, the cross map is Snapback picking up the Herald.
Yeah, but really importantly here, Kai'Sa is going to get to just free hit that tower. We flip back to KRC here. Yeah, you just put the pool on the ground. Push waves. Easy Morgana mid lane. Don't even have to worry about CS, just, you know, throw out
Let the pool do it for you.
Yeah.
Absolutely so. I mean, I expected the side of TCC to find a bit more of a decisive victory in the mid lane. Lord Beach, we've been told, such a big-time GP player as both of these top laners are, and GP can often be played extremely aggressively, but instead it was the Cull being picked up early, just really going for what looks to be more of that scaling option, going to pick up some of that crit, look for the late-game one-shots instead of the lane bully identity, and I respect that greatly, as we do see the vision being jockeyed for here around the river. It could lead to a bit of a fight, but when the binding doesn't connect and the poke does, that's not going to be a trade. Nameless Thunder wins.
Good barrel placement there. Does end up taking a little bit of damage down, of course. We're going to see both these teams jockeying for position over this dragon here. Nate, aggressive yet again here, though.
Yeah, I like the way they're playing around that zone of space, but it could be a bit of an overextension. No 6 for Nate, and the Enchanted Crystal Arrow for Alor means that that's just going to be a quick pick-up back for TCC. Snapback doesn't want to let the play end yet either. Has gone Dragon Form as Opti found the hook through the minions. How did he manage it? Now the flash forward aggressively. Snapback holding the aggro so that Nautilus can find it. The shutdown on the opposing AD carry will be answered back with his own death, but man, what a series of play from TCC.
The only unfortunate thing there for TCC is not able to really turn onto this dragon contest. KRC looking for something.
Yeah, saunters on up, but the binding hits a minion. The hitbox wasn't where you want it. Now they're trying to find the kill. Alor going to be auto-attacking down. The ultimate fails to connect. The flash is forced. Alor just playing with their food, walking forward, presses that W button, picks up a kill. That's a great sequence of play. And do they have time to get over to the Drake to contest?
I don't think they know they're here. Vaunted just going to walk over and take that one. A lot of back and forth coming from both sides here. Lord Beach going to try to push that wave in as they know that KRC is not there. Nate's just going to catch it, though.
Yeah, it's a nice little bit of supporting there from Nate. It's not just the big flashy engages when you're playing support. It's doing the little things like freezing the wave for your laners, giving them a little Christmas present to come back to. But absolutely great fight, extended battle down there from the collective colors in the bot lane. At the very least, Nameless Thunder did break one of those other patterns we saw from Game 1, picked themselves up an early Drake, and with the Infernal Rift coming on through and an Infernal Soul up for grabs, it could be so impactful, but now Opti going to be rooted up, going to be bursted down by that Void Seeker from Thick Bob, so that's a nice one coming on back. They pick up a kill, do Nameless Thunder, as this has been a much more hotly contested game than last time around.
Yeah, and Nate on this Leona is so aggressive. Honestly, reminds me of the beginning of the LPL over there in China with Hong on FPX. Gonna have to wait and see if this aggression continues, though.
That FPX squad definitely had some pleasant surprises, Hong being amongst the best of them. All those LPL players, of course, so renowned for their aggression, but Hong on another level. The LPL just makes engaged supports look so good, as TCC and Nameless Thunder trying to channel some of that energy here tonight, and they've done so. Both Nate and Opti making big plays with the hooks, with the roots. But it's sort of led to another battle of the 80 carries this time around. Thick Bob, once again, really being the beneficiary of lots of kills, just like on the Tristana in Game 1. We'll have to see if the aggressive Kai'Sa plays can continue to come forward to press that lead.
Yeah, it looks like maybe going to set up a bit of a tower dive here on the side of TCC, but it looks like Vaunted has this covered.
Yeah, that's a nice hook, but can they play around the turret successfully? Thick Bob still yet to use the ultimate as Vaunted comes down with that Sky Splitter, going to find the kill, going to find the turnaround. The cannon barrage does absolutely nothing in the back half. It started out good for TCC, but Nameless Thunder played it patient, played it right, caught the wave, didn't let them force it into a turret dive, and managed to win the skirmish out.
Yeah, and Thick Bob is huge on this Kai'Sa right now. Now 5-1-3. Going to get the Kraken Slayer on that back, too. Going to see Brown Ale get some tower plate. And that is a big win condition for them, seeing if this Big R can get up and going on that top side.
Yeah, leading the game in CS right now is Brown Ale on the Veigar. Saw the very nice control mage player. I suppose it's more of an artillery mage coming through with the Ziggs last time around. But Veigar is right in that same wheelhouse, and giving a Veigar a free lane, definitely scary. We'll see if they can pick out the overextension, though. We saw this a couple times last game, but oh no! Nate stopped to clear the pink instead of just walking forward to pinch Brown Ale. That feels bad.
Yeah, maybe going to look for a bit of a return. Brown Ale walked back up to the wave here, of course. Morgana going to have a lot of damage.
That's just greed! You knew where Nate was. Now uses the flash in a situation that feels impossible to escape. Brown Ale, what are you doing? Just going to be picked out in the side lane. That's a nice pickup for the Morgana. Now has that complete. Leandries, of course, so going to be doing lots of damage. The trade is the first turret on the bot side, but that's a bit of a head-scratcher moment from Brown Ale.
Yeah, a little bit of a misplay for sure. I do think it's very funny though. After the first CC comes down, did not get to move. That's that combo coming in from the Morgana and the Leona. CC after CC after CC, just stand there. You can't do anything. Kind of comical coming in from the side of Nameless. Of course, I think that was a very intentional draft thought by them, with the Black Shield, of course, going to negate Vagar quite a bit, plus the CC combos there for days.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, both of those champions, two of the most frustrating supports to play against for anybody who has that bot lane experience. They know that well. So to get both of them just gives so many possibilities. It's like we saw at MSI last year when it was the Morgana jungle meta so briefly. What a weird tournament that was, MSI 2021. And we just saw it paired with the Leona so often because you just cannot move. And it has definitely allowed Nameless to equalize a lot of these fights in ways they couldn't last time, but what they haven't been able to do is defend their turrets. Is now Opti finding the CC. It's the Enchained Crystal Arrow on the back of the Dredge line, the Cannon Barrage on top as well. This is the team fight prowess we saw from TCC last time around, brought to life once again. They absolutely washed this fight as the Divine Intervention already used. KRC and Thick Bob have no chance as they're going to chase down the Kaisa and find 4 kills for none and a Drake for themselves.
Yeah, really well played, and Lord Beach there in the end with a nice barrel combo, picking that up. Shyvana getting drags again, scaling up. Thick Bob almost carried that team fight, though, as we're going to see this replay here. Just a little bit overpositioned, everyone's there. That combo with the Dredge line followed by Crystal Arrow is going to be pretty big, and the placement of both the Event Horizon and the... why can I not remember the name? The GP ult there doing a very good job to prevent anyone from following up on Vaunted ult. Really just great zone control coming in from the side of TCC, preventing Thick Bob from being able to output the damage that they needed to win that fight.
Absolutely so. The Kaisa really couldn't operate at all there. It's also a bit interesting. We saw Sakroza choose to self-ult there, I do believe, when you did have a frontline who was at the time under fire with a full health bar. So definitely an interesting choice of the Kayle ultimate. And, you know, I'm a Kayle player myself. I'm putting that top lane. So I can speak to the fact that sometimes we're a bit greedy with that ult. We don't want to use it for our teammates, even when it's for the best. I remember there was actually a show match. It was like all the league boomers, right, got flown out to China right before the pandemic to play like an old school region versus region show match. So you had like all the old LPL players like Clear Love, you had all the old NA folks like Westrice and Boy Boy, you had Xpeke and Wicked on the EU team. And I remember getting so frustrated watching that EU versus NA game and seeing Westrice play Kayle and always ult himself at full health when his team was fighting. I think he just hadn't played Kayle since the rework and was like, oh yeah, I can Kayle all the other people now. So that Kayle not getting its full efficacy in that fight, but plenty of chances left for Nameless Thunder, but not when you get picked out like that. It's just going to be the support absolutely taken off the map right there.
And that's that danger from the aggression. Walking in, not knowing where anyone is, that is a big crux for support players.
Yeah, somebody has to get the vision, Kev. As now Lord Beach, speaking of face-checking bushes, just going to get absolutely eliminated, so it's an eye for an eye, it's a trade for a trade. It's one answered for the other there between Nameless and TCC. But this, as you point out, support's very prone to that situation, right? Because what can Nate do? Somebody has to walk up and get vision ahead of the Baron spawn.
Yeah, you really got to find that balance between walking up to get vision and over-aggression, especially when you don't know where people are. Can definitely come to bite you in the butt there.
It's like, you ever play support in solo queue, Kev, and it's like, guys, the objective is about to spawn. I have 2 pinks and a support item. I can go and get us vision, but if I walk up by myself, I am going to become death. I am going to become eliminated. I will be sent to the gray screen. Somebody has to come be my buddy. Everybody's like, no, screw off, we're farming. You're the support. You do what we tell you to do. Go walk up and die. And there's just not really much you can do about it.
See, my issue is that even if they don't, I'll try to walk up and steal it with a hook over the wall. Maybe a little too prone myself to that over-aggression. I've seen that too many times, of course. You know, sometimes it is a highlight play. You walk up, you throw out a Blitzcrank Q, completely blind, steal a dragon. But more times than not, going to get punished for that one, as we're going to go back into, looks like a little bit of a lull state. Of course, Kale does have level 11, so going to become even stronger. Of course, looking for that 16 mark. KRC still farming the same way.
It's the countdown. It's the rush to 16. Normally we see it with the Caston, but Kale, being a K champion buddy, also has that capability to just win a game auto when you hit level 16. And despite the fact that it's an even kill score here, it is by no means an even game. TCC really ahead just in terms of all of the turrets they've managed to take. That whole first line of scrimmage eliminated with all the tier 1s gone, so deep vision abounds for them, gives them such great setup. And with this Infernal Drake hitting in just 45 seconds, the bot lane duo gets to walk up, scout out the enemy jungle, get the deep vision down, and really prepare themselves to get onto Soul Point.
Yeah, and Brown Ale has kind of just been left to farm in the top lane the entire side. Once they are there for that team fight, going to output a lot of damage. Already, it looks like getting ready to buy a Rabadons.
Yeah, that's double needlessly large rods as Lord Beach fails the blast going over the wall, but has the backup. Brown Ale there with the cage. Nobody's chasing my mid laner down, says the Vigar, in a very confusing turn of events. As now Vaunted Dreams getting aggressive, going to bring the ultimate down over the top, going to force the return ultimate from the Shyvana. I'm not quite sure what he was thinking there, as that was never going to work out from this game state, but I guess you have to try something, because once again, Thick Bob wasting the ult while the bot lane just gets eliminated. No, I'm sorry. Thick Bob didn't waste the ult. It was Sakroza who put the ult on a target that wasn't really in a position to use it. Either way, Nameless gets wiped, they get aced, the Soul Point goes over, and the Baron's probably next on the table.
Yeah, and just a bit of a rough one coming in from the side of Nameless. I don't think Kale was quite there for the team fight before that one got going. We're going to get a little bit of a replay. You see here, Nameless, Vaunted really just went in there. Full go mode, as this is, I believe...
Yeah, this is a bit before the fight does start up. That's just sort of the setup, the preamble, right? But this team fight going to start in just a second is, you know, we see the GP fail the wall, and it's all yours from here.
Yeah, and tries to get that barrel chain over the wall. Vaunted just flashes and goes. And Kale and Morgana walked around the other way, so weren't even there to set up that damage. And then when they get there, Event Horizon just prevents them from really doing anything.
Oh, it's such a shame. I'm sorry, Sakroza. Save your ult for yourself every fight from now on, because you give it to Thick Bob right as they flash ult out. I'm so sorry. Never listen to me again. Be a greedy Kale player.
And really just unfortunate. A bit of a miscommunication there. Vaunted went in, and Kale and Morgana, your big damage threats, just weren't able to be there in time.
Yeah, and that's sort of been the tale of both of these games, right? Less so in game one, as you know, it was more Nameless Thunder sort of getting outplayed despite working fairly well together. But across both games, we've seen Vaunted really try and force a lot of plays on these hard engaged champions. Has the Chem Tank Volibear this time around, had the Hecarim last time, so running in Mach 5, trying to jump in and get things started when the team isn't really on the same page. And then in this game, with some of the confusion with the Divine Interventions coming out from Sakroza, that Kale ultimate, which does offer that invulnerability, it's not quite the level of cohesion you want to see from Nameless Thunder, and despite the fact that both of these teams are undefeated so far in BAS, they both seem to be pretty good. I would say that's been the big difference maker tonight in Week 3.
Yeah, it definitely has been a lot of over-aggression thus far from Nameless. Of course, this game is still, it could go either way. Gonna have to wait and see if maybe a Baron steal or something like that can come through. Of course, R down, it looks like about 8k, so R crawling back that gold lead just a tiny bit, but still a really tough one for the side of Nameless.
Yeah, this Baron Nashor buff could be the deciding factor. Maybe they could find some sort of desperation sneak or something along those lines, real sneaky beaky like, but I love that deep ward in the lane after the tier 2 was taken, hasn't been swept out, so they have such a great idea of the movements of Nameless Thunder, as now in the side lane the fight does begin once again, but it's Brown Ale who's mostly been bursted out, but there's the return damage, just like in game 1, walks away with a sliver, doesn't live, but does get what they came there for, as now KRC, going to be the target of the Divine Intervention, will live through. Sakroza having to kite back. The depth charge going to find the mid laner though, and that will be ticking health bars all around the map, as it will be another big decisive win for TCC right next to the Baron pit.
Really good turn from Brown Ale there, able to get the kill back the other direction. Of course, Vaunted can still look for a steal. I'm not sure if they have vision on this.
Yeah, and they have no way to get over the wall, no ult, no flash, no health. Could use that comb, but it will be so telegraphed, the vision right there. Are they going to go for it? If Vaunted gets this, it could be crazy, but it's only 2k, just eliminated before the smite even came through, had no vision to secure it. Thick Bob, even with the Acathian rain over the wall, trying to find the crazy steal, only gets the GP kill.
I mean, still is going to be money in the Kai'Sa's pocket, but this Baron should turn into, I'd imagine, at least that top tier 2. Gonna just get this back so I can get back out on the map.
Yeah, as we do see the replay coming on through here.
Yeah, and it was a really good play at the start, but because they've left this Veigar on the top side, that burst just comes in, absolutely deletes the Leona. Doesn't have, it looks like, really too much magic resist, and the chase down is pretty easy after that. You get the depth charge in, and you get the burst coming in from the Shyvana and the GP with a barrel chain to finish it off there. Nice and easy.
Yeah, it's starting to look like a bit of a wash here, Mr. Kevbo. TCC really gunning for that 2-0. They're up 10k once again. It's deja vu all over again, as we remember where this led after this position last game. Can KRC actually get this in the face of so many enemy members? Who got that crab? I'm very curious here, Camcom. I need to see who took the crab. Oh, it was TCC. The game's over. They took that crab. It's just decided, Kev.
Yeah, I mean, they do have good vision thus far. They're trying to get that down, but I mean, Brown Ale is just topside, just pushing onto this inhibitor tower. They might be able to get a pick here, though.
Maybe they can catch him out overextending, but when the Veigar has the capability to just split push like this, never mind, we see Opti just going full aggro mode. I mean, TCC is not afraid of anything. The Cannon Barrage going to find all that damage, but they do lose their 80 carry early in the fight. Now they have the Baby K. Just snap back, finds the huge damage with Brown Ale. That hybrid AP build making those fireballs hit so hard. Veigar finding the finishing touches, but now Sakroza has the ult for themselves, kiting it out, going to use that Divine Intervention, but not going to get any damage down really at all. That was so surprising, as that ult was a big old did nothing there, and I think TCC have all but won at this point.
I mean, was able to trade, but that's really the story, is just trading up here for TCC the entire time. Dark Binding is going to land, probably going to pick up this kill.
Yeah, that was a nice snipe out from KRC, but Brown Ale still had the flash, but the ticks from the Leandry is going to find it on top of that pool. Nice little shutdown for the Morgana, although it will be the Infernal Soul going on over, going to make this long-range poke like the Shyvana Fireballs, like the Veigar W's, just hit even harder. Definitely going to be a bad situation to try and navigate if you're Naval Sunder.
Yeah, and Snapback had a lot of damage in that fight. I'm interested to see if they can make me get a one-shot in here towards the end of the game. Vaunted just trying to scale up still, get some of that farm. It's just they're so far behind at this point.
Yeah, I mean, 12k, that's not one you even really see in modern League of Legends all that much. It used to be a little bit more common back when you know, the gold leads meant a little bit less. You know, I think back to like 2016 MSI, right, or 2015. Whenever CLG got that huge comeback against RNG, they were down like 13k gold because tank metas. We'll see if that does return to the game, as this might be what a little bit of Nameless Thunder need, as they do get a pick onto the enemy support. They even draw out the GP ult for it. So, you know, they exchange some resources and get a pick. This is a nice little start.
I mean, it's not over till the Nexus falls. I do think that we might start seeing these leads mean a little bit less as we get towards that new patch that is coming out. But of course, like I said, not over till it's over. I won a Clash game this past weekend, down 10k, so... Ornn, though, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Ornn kind of busted.
Well, Kale's like if Ornn was a damage champion. So I think what you're saying here, Kev, is there is still hope. Kale can do 200 years things, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Kale doesn't have CC, but does have just an insane amount of damage with Lord Beach. Looking to see if someone steps up to this wave here. But I imagine we're just going to go back to some farming until this next neutral objective does come up. Of course, TCC did unlock the Elder Dragon win con, so you got that going for you as well.
Yeah, it's sort of that turtling strategy, that turtling position coming out from Nameless Thunder at this point. Really all they can do is sit back and catch waves and occasionally find somebody like Opti moving up a bit too far for vision, as even here Brown Ale had the advanced notice, couldn't get pinched on by Nate GG. I see Camcom making fun of me for being old in chat again. Here's one for you, Cam. Here's another comparison of a player you've probably never heard of in a game you've never seen, but it's one of the most famous in all esports history, you youngin. We might see Nameless Thunder pull off a CLGEU here, right? I mean, they don't have Nivea or Karthus. They don't really have the capability to just turtle endlessly like CLGEU did, but maybe they can actually come back from a 12k gold lead. Nothing's impossible with a Kale.
And I gotta be honest with you, Infinite, I might be a boomer in age, but I am certainly a bit of a noob in terms of LoL esports history. We're going to see KRC doing very good with these bindings here, getting some damage out over the wall. Of course, the pool going to, as I've been joking about, but now...
Sakroza just got half-healthed by a single barrel. I love GP. This is a great champion.
Yeah, barrels coming in clutch there. We are going to see them start this Baron here, though.
Yeah, this time around, Vaunted Dreams does have double mobility tools, has a pink over the wall, has the smite, has the steal! Could this be enough, or is the gold lead just insurmountable? The fight, unfortunately, not going the way of Nameless Thunder, despite the heroics of the Volley Bear there. It's already a 3-for-1. Sakroza's back was stopped as well. They have the Baron. This could increase their capability to turtle quite a while longer.
And unfortunately, Sakroza just not there. They might have had a chance to turn that around, did end up getting snapback and the Baron there. So very, I think, lucky play there coming in for Nameless. Of course, they're going to lose at the very least this inhibitor and possibly a Nexus Tower here. They do have a lot of wave clear.
It looks like TCC is going for the coup de grace. They're not giving the respawn timers any merit here because they know if it's 5 men in the Baron, they can turtle. But if it's just a couple of guys standing in front of a Nexus, all they can do is watch it fall as they go full aggro mode and take this series 2-0. The collective colors defying our analyst expectations and proving themselves to be the team to beat here in Group D.
Yeah, and it looks like, unfortunately, you cursed it talking about our homie from last split. You dragged me under the bus as well. Of course, very well done from Collective Colors. They looked pretty dominant in that series, of course, against their opponent that was, like you said, also at the top of this group. Pretty dominant.
It was some impressive doings from the Nameless Thunder to sort of stay even for a while in these games, but you couldn't help but feel that both times it was just a snowball slowly running down the mountain, rolling, picking up more mass until it explodes, as we do see the graphics getting fixed up a little bit here. Cam has had a busy week. Cam's under a lot of stress. Cut them some slack. They're doing a great job here tonight, especially with those replays and observing duty. So we do got the right graphics here as we see the post-game. Things looking really good for the collective, though, after this match. Definitely going to be our favorite out of Group D, I think, for the foreseeable future here in the VAS.
looking pretty strong, and they had a game plan. They came in and they executed. There were a couple missteps, but of course, we're able to pull this one out in the end. And Brown Ale did so much damage in both of those games.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild what you can do with a Yordle and some magic and a dream if you are Brown Ale. Definitely some great performances on the artillery mages. Definitely one of my favorite classes of player to see. Somebody that plays those Vigars, those Ziggs, those Zerets, and just rains hell down upon the enemy from a million miles away. Big shout outs to both of our teams here tonight once again. It was a very entertaining series as far as the 2-0 goes. So definitely great stuff coming through on the VAS tonight. As I am waiting to hear from production what our plans are for the post game. I don't think we're doing a winner's interview in regular season this split around. Maybe eventually. Maybe we can bring some players on for pre-show stuff at some point. We got plenty of plans coming through for the rest of the split. But that will be it for us here tonight this time around. I've been Infinite Dodge.
I've been Kempo.
Kevbo has Nar. Cam did the producing and the hosting, and they did a great job at it. They even brought Jigglypuff along for the ride. So from all of us here at the VAS tonight, thank you so much for staying tuned through the whole shebang. It was a great series. Big ups to the players once again, and we will see you guys same place, same time next week. Bye-bye.